Oh, you know what I hate?
Hmm.
I hate when car deals go wrong, and they shouldn't go wrong.
What do you mean?
So like I told you the story. I'll tell it again. I had a young couple, like early 20s, buying one of their first vehicles. Didn't know what they were doing. Came in, test drove with me. Said, "Yeah, we're really interested in this vehicle. We're just going to take a little bit of time to think about it." And I'm like, "Okay, can't guarantee the vehicle's not going to be here." They're like, "Yeah, don't worry." And then they came back about 3 or 4 days later and they said, "Yeah, actually, we want that vehicle. It's still available." And I'm
Oh
like,
no, what happened?
I said, "Well, good news, bad news. Good news is the vehicle is still available, but the bad news is that they have decided to cancel your qualification for a loan because you've been going around to half a dozen different dealerships."
So they went to like 5 or 6 other dealerships after
Yeah,
they told you that they just wanted to think about it,
yeah,
and then got pre-approved at those dealerships as well.
yeah. Because this is what happens: is that people who don't know think that they can go shopping for credit, and then what happens is they wind up hurting their credit.
So here's the myth. The myth is that different dealers have different interest rates.
Doesn't
And it's
happen.
wrong. Almost all of the dealerships work with the same banks.
Yeah, unless it's a guy who's got his cousin Vinny loaning you some cash out of the back. You don't want to deal with them, right?
I need to meet Vinny. I'm Ryan Leverett.
I'm Phil Menzat.
And together we have over 25 years of experience in car dealerships. So we're here to give you the behind the scenes, the insider's guide, the secrets on how to save time and money and have a better experience next time you buy a car.
That's right.
And the reality is that different dealerships don't have different interest rates on cars.
That's right.
So there is a difference here between new and used. So different dealerships aren't going to have different interest rates, but different manufacturers might if you're buying a new car. Yep. Toyota, Honda, Kia, Ford, GMC, they all might have different interest rates if you're buying a new vehicle. But here's an interesting tip for all of you listening. When you go to buy a used vehicle, all of the dealerships use the same banks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to my dealership and you get pre-approved, and we have an approval through the Royal Bank of Canada and an approval through Scotiabank, and then you go to another dealership and get pre-approved, that dealership can literally piggyback the same approval because it's the same bank. Scotiabank, TD Bank, Royal Bank of Canada, Chase Bank, any of the other banks out there, they're not going to give a different approval for you at a different dealership because the vehicle and the dealership don't determine the rate, the interest rate that you get, or the approval that you get. You do.
Yeah. It's based on your credit history.
Right. It's based on your credit history and a whole bunch of components that go into it. And if the Royal Bank of Canada gives you an approval on a 2025 Ford F-150 that I have on my lot, and then you go down the road to buy another pre-owned vehicle or look at another pre-owned vehicle and they get you an approval at RBC, it's the same approval, folks.
Yeah.
It's the exact same approval because my dealership and that dealership aren't the ones that set the rates. The Royal Bank of Canada in that case does.
Yeah.
So there's also a danger that you need to be aware of that Phil just mentioned in this story with the young couple is that banks don't like it when you are repeatedly shopping for credit. Yeah. If you have ever gotten a credit card and got declined by one credit card company and then went to another credit card company and then went to another credit card company, eventually all of the credit card companies are going to say no.
No, yeah.
Because they don't like credit shoppers.
Yeah.
That's just a reality with credit and banks. That's got nothing to do with car dealerships. Yeah. So if you're that kind of person that thinks that you can go from dealership to dealership to dealership and try to get a better rate, there's not some mythical secret interest rate that my dealership has that yours doesn't.
No.
It's all the same banks. So repeatedly applying for interest is actually going to hurt you to the point that eventually those banks are going to pull the approval away.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened with your couple, right?
And you know, the thing is that they were like, sure, a young couple and they were doing a first time loan on a vehicle like that. Chances are they would have just gotten approved.
Yeah.
Like they did get approved.
They had decent income. They had no credit deficiencies.
Right.
They were looking at a reasonable vehicle within their budget.
Right.
They would have gotten approved.
Now, here's the thing is, well, they did get approved and then they got approved at other places apparently.
And then their approval got revoked.
And then it got revoked.
That's right.
But the point of all of this too is like, it's something that people just don't understand. That's why we're talking about this.
Yeah.
It's not to say people are silly or whatever, but it's like to keep you from maybe making this mistake. If you haven't bought a lot of vehicles, this is really important because it can really come back and hurt you. But also, like, if you are struggling with credit that's not the best, it's the same thing. You apply it one place. And in fact, if your credit's not the best, you work with the right person and they'll find a vehicle that fits your credit.
Yeah.
It's not like you keep trying to go to somebody who's going to help. Like if you have a little bit of a problem with credit, then you're going to work with a pro who's going to be like, okay, well, you're not going to get an $80,000 SUV. We're going to get you into something smaller. We're going to rebuild your credit. That's a
or they
thing.
might even suggest different ways of owning the vehicle, like leasing or different finance structures. And that goes back to the beginning of why we started this channel in the first place. Is the number one tip that we can give you on how to have a better experience buying a car the next time you go out to buy a vehicle is find a sales professional that you like, know, and trust.
Yeah.
And let them go to work for you and get the best approval possible, get the best vehicle possible, help you navigate this world where the average person only buys a vehicle every 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, myself as a sales professional working in the dealership, I sell 5 or 6 vehicles every week.
Yeah.
So
That's a big
I
difference.
understand how to help.
Yeah.
And I have a finance manager, a business manager that I also trust.
Yeah.
And a business manager is a good matchmaker. Myself, the business manager, and the dealership itself is not the one that lends you the money. So shopping around for rates makes the banks look at you like you're a risk profile. And they're eventually just going to pull the approvals away and say, I'm sorry, you as a consumer don't know what you're doing and we don't want to lend you money.
Yeah.
Whereas a sales professional and a business manager that are good at what they do, they're going to help walk you through this. And a business manager that's good at what they do, like I said, is a good matchmaker. They're going to know which banks are going to give the best approvals based on your situation, the vehicle, all the above.
Let them shop for you.
Yes,
for the
absolutely.
Like, that's the thing is, and again, when it comes to working with, when you're working, the whole idea of everything we do is to help you avoid making those really costly mistakes.
Yes, yeah.
That's what everybody wants to avoid, is making those costly mistakes. The thing is that this isn't just kind of hurting you didn't get the car, so it's not like it's costing you money, but it's hurting your credit. And it can really easily, so it can spill off into other things too.
It's a great point, especially with the story like you just shared with this young couple that doesn't have a lot of credit to begin with. They're very young. Every time that a dealership shops your credit to a bank, it does hurt your credit. Yep. And if they're doing that to 2 or 3 banks, that is normal because we want to take 2 or 3 banks and have them compete against each other to give you the best rates and terms that you could potentially qualify for. But imagine that you do that at 5 different dealerships.
Yeah, it's going to hurt you.
Now you've just pulled your credit and shopped your credit across 5 different dealerships, possibly 15 different times. That's negatively impacting your credit to the point that now you no longer qualify for a vehicle loan, let alone the fact that the banks are looking at you going, this is a risky person to lend money to. We don't want to do it. So there's a whole bunch of factors involved with this. Baseline is find a sales professional that you trust, who's going to have a business manager that you trust, and don't shop around for the best credit. Let them do that for you. And also keep in mind that there is a difference between new and used vehicles. On new vehicles, the interest rate, the approvals is dictated by the manufacturer. Yeah. And it can differ from manufacturer to manufacturer to manufacturer. But on
from
used, month to month as well.
Yeah.
On used vehicles, we all use the same banks. So if you get approved at my dealership, you're going to get the same approval at his dealership. You're going to get the same approval at his dealership. There's not some mythical secret interest rate that dealership D down the road has that the other dealerships don't.
Yeah,
it doesn't exist.
And you don't want the interest rate at Vinny's dealership.
That's probably true too.
Forget about it.
Also keep that in mind. There are dealerships that will lie to you when you qualify for a low interest rate. And you're like, I'm sorry, this is the interest rate. And it's like 10 points higher than what you actually qualify for. There are those dealerships out there that will do that. Avoid them like the plague. Find a sales professional that you trust and like and know. They will have a business manager that they know and trust and like. Let that all work together for you. Let them do the hard work for you because they should have the insider's knowledge to make it work. Remember, shop for the vehicle, not the rate. You qualify for what you qualify. The vehicle doesn't qualify for the rate. The dealership doesn't qualify for the rate. You do.
Yep. All right. So like, share, and subscribe, and follow us for more tips so you can avoid those costly errors.
Take care, guys. See you soon.